On a quiet Tuesday morning, the sky above New York City turned from blue to burning orange. Strange ships, shaped like giant arrowheads, broke through the clouds. They were not from Earth. Lisa Downs stood on the roof of the Military Command Center, watching in horror as the first energy beam cut through the Empire State Building like it was made of paper. The top half slid off and crashed into the streets below. She had been right all along, but it gave her no joy to see it. "Commander Downs, we need you inside now," shouted her aide, Ryan Bell, his face pale with fear. Lisa tore her eyes away from the destruction and ran back to the control room. Screens around the room showed similar scenes playing out in London, Tokyo, Moscow, and dozens of other cities. This wasn't a targeted strike. This was global. "What's our status?" Lisa asked, her voice steadier than she felt. Colonel Pete Harris shook his head. "We've lost contact with Washington. The president's helicopter was heading to Mount Weather when we lost the signal. And our defense systems? Nothing works against their shields. Missiles, jets, railguns, everything bounces off or gets shot down before impact." Lisa leaned over the tactical display. The North American Defense Fleet, once considered the most powerful military force on the planet, was being wiped out in minutes. Carrier groups were burning in the oceans. Air Force bases were cratered ruins. "Get me anyone still alive at NASA or the European Space Agency," Lisa ordered. "We need to know what we're dealing with." Ryan worked the communications console. "I've got Dr. Gregory Hoffman on a satellite phone. He's at the observatory in Hawaii." Lisa grabbed the phone. "Dr. Hoffman, it's Commander Downs. What can you tell me?" The scientist's voice crackled with static. "They came from beyond Jupiter's orbit, accelerated at speeds that should be impossible. There are at least 30 motherships and hundreds of smaller craft. Commander, I've been monitoring their communications. They're speaking English, discussing us like we're a problem to be solved." Lisa felt cold. "They learned our language? They've been watching us?" "For years, probably, and, Commander, they're taking orders from something called the Galactic Council." This wasn't their decision alone. A lieutenant ran up with a tablet. "Ma'am, we're getting a broadcast on all frequencies. They're introducing themselves." Lisa nodded, and the main screen switched to show a humanoid figure with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. It wore what looked like ceremonial armor. "People of Earth," the alien said, its mouth moving strangely around the English words. "I am Fleet Commander Zorthal of the Zorlian Empire, acting under the authority of the Galactic Council. Your species has been deemed too dangerous to join galactic society. Your violent history, coupled with your rapid technological advancement, presents an unacceptable risk to galactic peace. This containment action has been approved by Council vote. Resistance will only increase casualties." Lisa's hands gripped the edge of the console until her knuckles turned white. "They're not here to communicate. They've already decided our fate." The bombardment continued for hours. Lisa and what remained of her command staff retreated underground as the building above them took multiple hits. Emergency generators kept the lights on and systems running, but reports from the outside grew worse by the hour. "We've lost the Pacific Fleet entirely," Ryan reported, his uniform stained with sweat and dust. "Europe is going dark city by city. Africa and South America are reporting massive civilian casualties." Lisa paced the length of the room. "What about our missile silos? The ones that haven't been destroyed can't get a launch signal through their jamming field." A young sergeant spoke up from her communication station. "Commander, I'm receiving an encrypted message from beneath the Rocky Mountains. It's President Carter. He's alive." The screen flickered to show a bunker similar to their own. President Alan Carter looked exhausted, a bandage visible on his forehead. "Commander Downs, good to see you're still with us," he said grimly. "Mr. President, what are your orders?" "I've spoken with the remaining world leaders. We're activating Protocol Omega." Lisa inhaled sharply. Protocol Omega was the highest-level emergency response, created after the Cold War but never implemented. It unified all remaining military forces under a single command structure, bypassing normal chains of authority. "Sir, with all due respect, we don't have enough firepower left to make a difference. This isn't about fighting back, not yet." The president looked off camera and nodded to someone. I'm sending Dr. Gregory Hoffman to your location. He's been studying something we recovered decades ago, something that might give us a chance. The screen split to show Hoffman, the tall bearded scientist Lisa had spoken to earlier. Commander, Hoffman said, in 1967 we recovered technology from a crashed alien vessel in Nevada. Different species than these attackers. The wreckage was taken to a research facility called Project Nemesis. I've been leading the research team for 15 years. Lisa stared in disbelief. You're telling me we've had alien tech for over 50 years? Yes, and we've made breakthroughs in the last 5 that could help us now. The facility is deep underground in Nevada and hasn't been discovered by the attackers yet. President Carter spoke again. Commander Downs, I'm ordering you to gather whatever forces you can and get to the Nemesis facility. Dr. Hoffman will meet you there. This is now our highest priority. What about civilian evacuation, sir? The president's face showed pain. Continue where possible, but our primary focus must be on survival as a species now. These aliens clearly came prepared for total conquest, or extinction. We need to find a way to hurt them before there's nothing left to save. After the call ended, Lisa turned to her team. I need status reports on all remaining submarines. They'll be our best bet for moving undetected. As they worked, Lisa stepped into her small office and allowed herself one moment of grief. Pictures on her desk showed her family, her brother Jake and his kids in Seattle, her parents in Florida, all likely gone now. She wiped away a single tear, then straightened her uniform. When she returned to the command center, the team had compiled what little good news existed. The USS Defiance is intact, submerged off the East Coast, Ryan reported. Captain Doug, Freeman reports they've been running silent since the attack began. They can reach us through the underwater access tunnel. Tell them we'll be ready, and get me whatever satellite imagery we still have of Nevada. We need to plan a route to Nemesis that keeps us off their scanners. As they worked through the night, occasional explosions rocked the bunker. The alien bombardment continued overhead, methodically destroying what remained of the city. In the early hours of the morning, Lisa gathered her team. Only 23 soldiers and staff had survived. We leave in 1 hour, she told them. I won't lie, the situation is dire. Most of our world is in ruins, but today isn't the end of humanity. It's the day we start fighting back. Ryan handed her an updated tablet. Latest count suggests they've destroyed about 60% of our military capacity and 30% of major population centers. Lisa nodded grimly. They think they know what humans are capable of. They've studied our wars, our violence, but they've missed something important. What's that, Commander? Asked a young lieutenant. Lisa's eyes hardened. Nobody is more dangerous than humans with nothing left to lose. 6 months passed since the day the sky burned. Earth was a changed planet. Broken buildings stood like rotting teeth against gray skies. The Zorlian occupation forces had established control points in what remained of major cities. Their tall watchtowers and floating patrol ships became common sights for the humans who had survived the initial attack. In what was once the grand meeting hall of the Galactic Council, Ambassador Zeal-Tark stood proudly before the gathered representatives of 17 advanced alien species. His blue skin gleamed under the bright lights. The human containment operation has been a success, he announced, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into the common galactic language. Earth is now a pacified world. Their military has been crushed, their governments dismantled. The threat they pose to our peaceful galaxy has been neutralized. The council members buzzed with approval. Holograms showed images of humans working in labor camps, rebuilding cities under alien supervision. The humans have proven surprisingly resilient as workers, Zeal-Tark continued. They will serve the Empire well as we extract their planet's resources. I formally declare this containment action complete, but deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, 3 miles down where the crushing pressure would destroy most submarines, a hidden facility called Alpha Obsidian remained untouched by alien sensors. Built inside an underwater mountain 20 years earlier, it had been designed to survive nuclear war. Now it served as one of humanity's last free outposts. Chief Engineer Samantha Rivera wiped sweat from her forehead as she carefully adjusted the connections on the device in front of her. The room was crowded with equipment salvaged from research labs around the world. Scientists and engineers worked day and night, sleeping in shifts on cots pushed against the walls. "How's it coming?" Major Peter Wallace asked, entering the lab, with 2 cups of coffee. His uniform was wrinkled from days of wear. Samantha took a cup gratefully. "I think we've almost got it. Dr. Hoffman's notes were right. The technology from that 1967 crash uses quantum principles we're only beginning to understand." She pointed to a glowing blue crystal suspended in a magnetic field. "This is the key. It's not just a power source. It's also a communication device that operates outside normal space-time. If we can tap into it properly, we can listen in on the aliens' secure networks." Peter looked skeptical. "You really think we can hack their systems? They're thousands of years ahead of us technologically." "That's the thing," Samantha said, excitement in her tired eyes. "Their technology isn't actually that much more advanced than ours in many ways. They've just been using it longer. The quantum principles are the same ones our scientists were starting to discover. And they've grown complacent, thinking we're just primitive monkeys with guns." In another section of Alpha Obsidian, Commander Lisa Downs stood in front of a wall-sized map showing known alien positions across Earth. Red dots covered much of the planet. She had lost weight since the attack, and a new scar ran across her right cheek from a close encounter with Zorlian troops during their journey to the facility. Captain Doug Freeman of the USS Defiance entered the command center. His submarine was now permanently docked with Alpha Obsidian, serving as both transportation and additional living space. "The last team made it back from Australia," he reported. "They brought 20 more scientists and some equipment from the underground lab in Sydney." Lisa nodded. "Any casualties?" "2. Patrol ship spotted them near the surface. They led it away from our location, then scuttled their mini-sub." Lisa closed her eyes briefly. Every loss hit hard now. There were so few of them left. Did they get what we needed? Doug held up a small metal case. "Yes. The specialized chips Dr. Rivera requested. Apparently they're crucial for the communication project." Across the facility in a secured room, Dr. Gregory Hoffman sat with President Carter and the remains of his cabinet. The president had aged decades in 6 months. His once dark hair was now almost completely white. "We've confirmed what we suspected," Hoffman explained, pointing to data on a screen. "The Galactic Council had been monitoring Earth for at least 50 years. They designated us as a potential threat when we split the atom. When we landed on the moon, they put us on a watch list. And when we started developing AI technology and advanced robotics, they decided to wipe us out before we could join them among the stars." The president finished. "Not wipe us out," corrected Hoffman. "Contain us. Keep enough humans alive to work as manual labor. They've done this before to other species." A woman in military uniform who had once been Canada's defense minister spoke up. "How many others?" "We don't know yet. That's what we hope to learn when the quantum communication tap is operational." Back in the main lab, Samantha made a final adjustment and held her breath. The blue crystal pulsed and holographic symbols began to appear above it. "It's working," she whispered. "Peter, get Commander Downs and the president. Now." Within minutes, the room was crowded with the facility's leadership. They watched in amazement as alien text scrolled through the air. "Can you translate it?" Lisa asked. Samantha nodded, typing commands into her console. "The system is adapting. The aliens use a standardized communication protocol. Our AI is breaking it down now." Slowly, the alien symbols transformed into English text. What they saw made the blood drain from their faces. "My God," President Carter whispered. Earth wasn't the only target. The documents revealed the Galactic Council's Containment Initiative, a program to identify and neutralize what they called potentially disruptive species before they could develop interstellar travel. Earth was merely test case number 12. 5 species had already been contained before humans. 17 more were on the list. They're afraid, Lisa realized. They're afraid of new species challenging their power. And look at this, Samantha said, pointing to another section of data. The Zorlians have most of their fleet here, but their homeworld is largely undefended. They never expected us to fight back. For the first time in months, Lisa felt something like hope. Can we access their defense systems through this connection? Samantha nodded slowly. Given time, yes, I think we can. President Carter straightened his shoulders. Then it's time. Activate Operation Phantom Dawn. Lisa turned to Captain Freeman. Get the Defiance ready. We're going to need your submarine carrier. For what? He asked. To deliver a message the Galactic Council will never forget. As they spoke, a sealed door opened and Ryan Bell entered, now wearing the insignia of a major. Commander Downs, we've finished analyzing the quantum drive salvaged from the crashed patrol ship. Dr. Rivera was right. With modifications, it can be installed on our remaining stealth aircraft. Lisa looked around at the determined faces of Earth's last free leaders and defenders. The Council thinks we're beaten, she said quietly. They think humanity is broken and tamed. It's time to show them how wrong they are. It's time to show them what happens when you corner a species that has spent its entire history learning how to survive. The Zorlian commander in what was once Chicago stood at the window of his tower, looking down at the humans working below. They moved like ants, clearing rubble and building new structures designed by alien architects. He felt nothing for them. They were just another primitive species that needed control. In his 6 months on this wet, noisy planet, he had come to despise its weather, its gravity, and especially its stubborn inhabitants. His second-in-command entered the room. Sir, we lost contact with Outpost 7. The commander turned, annoyed. Equipment failure again? This planet's atmosphere damages our systems. No, sir. Before communication cut off, they reported seeing humans with weapons. The commander clicked his teeth in their species' expression of disbelief. Impossible. We destroyed their military. In the ruins of Chicago's underground train system, Lieutenant Olivia Morris moved silently with her team of 12 soldiers. All wore mismatched gear, parts of military uniforms mixed with civilian clothes and captured alien armor. But their weapons were uniform, modified alien energy rifles taken from defeated enemies. Control point ahead, whispered her scout, Joey Nash. 5 guards, standard rotation. Olivia checked her watch, an old-fashioned mechanical one that couldn't be tracked by alien technology. 3 minutes until the signal. Get into position. Around the world, similar groups waited in sewers, subway tunnels, and hidden basements. Each team had spent months planning, watching alien patrol patterns and learning their weaknesses. Now they all waited for the same moment. At Alpha Obsidian, Samantha Rivera sat at the quantum communication console. All teams are in position, she reported. Commander Downs nodded. And our surprise package? Major Wallace gestured to a large screen showing a massive ship hidden in Earth's orbit, precisely positioned in the shadow of the moon. The retribution is ready, Admiral Winters. Reports all systems go. The ship was humanity's greatest achievement, built in secret during the 6 months of occupation using the alien technology they had reverse-engineered. It looked nothing like traditional human spacecraft. Its smooth, black surface absorbed light rather than reflected it. The quantum drive they had developed allowed it to move without conventional engines. Lisa took a deep breath. Begin Operation Phantom Dawn. Send the signal. Samantha pressed her hand against the console. The blue crystal pulsed, sending a coded message through the quantum network the aliens used. Every resistance team on Earth received the same message. On devices they had built from stolen parts. Dawn breaks now. In Chicago, Olivia felt her communicator vibrate. Move, she ordered. Her team rushed forward. Joey fired first, his modified rifle sending a pulse of energy that disabled the nearest guard without killing him. The others followed, precise and silent. Years of fighting as soldiers had trained them well. Within minutes, they controlled the small outpost. Olivia moved to the central console and inserted a data drive Samantha had prepared. Downloading their tactical data now, she said. into her communicator. Tell Alpha we'll have their defense codes in 3 minutes. Similar scenes played out at alien outposts across the planet. The Zorlians, comfortable in their assumed victory, had grown lazy. Their security protocols were followed without real attention. The simultaneous global attack caught them completely unprepared. In orbit above Earth, the massive Zorlian flagship Eternal Judgment appeared. It had received distress calls from multiple outposts and arrived to crush what they assumed was a small final resistance effort. Fleet Commander Zorthal stood on his command bridge. "These humans are more annoying than dangerous," he told his officers. "Send ground forces to each rebellion site. No survivors this time." "Sir," his sensor officer called out, "we're detecting something strange behind the planet's moon." Zorthal turned to the main screen. "Show me." Before the officer could respond, a sleek black ship moved out from behind the moon. It was smaller than the Zorlian flagship but moved with impossible speed. "What is that?" Zorthal demanded. "That's not one of our ships." His weapons officer was already moving, raising shields and charging main cannons. But the strange ship was faster. It closed the distance quickly, seeming to flicker in and out of normal space. On its bridge, Admiral Frank Winters gave the order: "Activate phase shift technology and prepare to board." Dr. Kelly Martinez, seated at a special console, activated the system she had developed based on the aliens' own technology. The Retribution's outer hull glowed with blue energy, then seemed to become partly transparent. On the Zorlian ship, alarms blared. "Sir, they've matched our shield frequency somehow," the panicked officer shouted. "They're passing through our shields." Zorthal couldn't believe what he was seeing. "Impossible! Fire all weapons!" The massive alien ship lit up as energy weapons, discharged in every direction, but it was too late. The human ship was already inside their defensive perimeter, its strange, phase-shifted state making conventional weapons pass harmlessly through it. The Retribution positioned itself directly, alongside the Zorlian flagship. Special boarding teams in armored suits launched across the short distance between ships. They carried cutting tools that sliced through the alien hull. Admiral Winters watched the operation from his command chair. "Phase 2 complete. Boarding. Teams are in. Maintain position and prepare for prisoner transfer." The battle inside the alien ship was brief but intense. The human soldiers moved with perfect coordination, using stun weapons rather than lethal force wherever possible. Within 15 minutes, they had control of the bridge and engine room. Zorthal found himself staring into the helmeted face of a human soldier. "This is impossible," he said, his translator making his shock clear. "You are a primitive species." The soldier removed her helmet, revealing herself as Colonel Rita Evans. "You really should have studied our history better," she said. "Humans have always been good at one thing: adapting to defeat our enemies." Back at Alpha Obsidian, the command center erupted in cheers as they received confirmation of the flagship's capture. Lisa allowed herself a small smile, the first in months. "How many casualties?" she asked. Peter checked the reports coming in. "Minimal. 3 of our boarding team injured, none killed, and surprisingly few alien casualties. Most surrendered once they realized what was happening." President Carter joined them, looking at the screens showing the captured alien ship. "You were right, Commander. Surprise was our best weapon." Samantha rushed in, excitement clear on her face. "It worked. While they were distracted by the ship capture, we accessed their central database through the quantum network. We have everything: the location of their homeworld, the Galactic Council headquarters, defense codes for their entire fleet. In what had once been Chicago, Olivia's team finished securing the command post. The alien commander was now their prisoner, his arrogance replaced by confusion. "Why didn't you kill us?" he asked Olivia. "We would have killed you," she secured his restraints. "That's the difference you never understood about humans. We can be brutal when we need to be, but we always prefer to find a better way." One of her soldiers called out from the communications panel. "Lieutenant, I have Commander Downs for you." Olivia took the call. "Morris here. Chicago command post is secured." Lisa's voice came through clearly. Excellent work, Lieutenant. Phase 1 and 2 are complete. Now begins the real mission. The Retribution will be coming to pick up our special cargo. Make sure he's ready for transport to the Council. Olivia looked at the captured alien commander. Oh, he'll be ready. What's our next target? The heart of it all, Lisa replied. The Galactic Council itself. Tell your team to rest while they can. The real fight is just beginning. The Galactic Council had existed for over 2,000 years. Its headquarters, the artificial planetoid Nexus Prime, floated in neutral space between the territories of the 17 most powerful species in the known galaxy. The massive structure housed the council chambers, diplomatic quarters, and the central database containing the collected knowledge of all member civilizations. Council Elder Vox Tempus, the oldest and most respected member of the ruling body, stood before the emergency session. His species resembled tall, thin humanoids with skin that shifted colors based on their emotions. Currently, his skin showed deep purple, the color of concern. The reports from Earth are troubling, he admitted to the gathered representatives. The containment operation has encountered resistance. Ambassador Zealtark interrupted, his blue skin flushed darker with anger. Primitive resistance. Nothing more than the final struggles of a dying species. Fleet Commander Zorthal will restore order soon. A junior aide rushed into the chamber and whispered urgently to Zealtark. The ambassador's color drained to pale blue, a sign of shock in his species. What is it? Demanded Vox Tempus. Zealtark seemed unable to speak for a moment. The Eternal Judgment, our flagship, has been captured by the humans. Murmurs of disbelief filled the chamber. The Eternal Judgment was supposed to be invincible, a symbol of the Council's power. Its loss was unthinkable. That's impossible, said the representative from the Krell Imperium, a reptilian species known for their military might. These humans are barely past their industrial age. They can't even leave their own solar system. Vox Tempus raised a hand for silence. Clearly, we have underestimated them. I want a full security lockdown of Nexus Prime immediately, and send word to all Council worlds to prepare their defenses, but it was already too late. Hidden in the maintenance tunnels beneath the Council chamber, Special Forces Commander Julia Bennett checked her equipment one last time. Her 3-person team had infiltrated Nexus Prime using the captured Zorlian ship, posing as maintenance workers with identification codes taken from the flagship's database. Status? She whispered into her comm unit. In position at the central computer core, responded Eric Taylor, the team's communications expert. Security is heavy but following predictable patterns. I'm at the secondary target, reported Heather Collins, former hacker turned military specialist. Ready when you are. Julia nodded, though her team couldn't see her. Remember, this isn't about destruction. We're here for information warfare. Dr. Maxwell's virus only needs 30 seconds of access to the main system. She checked the time. Commence operation in 3, 2, 1. In the computer core, Eric moved with practiced efficiency. He attached a small device to the main terminal and entered the access codes they had obtained from the captured Zorlian commander. The alien security system accepted the codes without question, another sign of their overconfidence. Uploading now, he reported as the virus created by Dr. Ben Maxwell began flowing into the Council's mainframe. The virus was unlike anything humans had created before. It didn't destroy or damage systems. Instead, it moved through the network, like a ghost, copying security codes, defense protocols, and, most importantly, command access to the automated defense fleets that protected Council space. In the Council chamber above, the first indication of trouble came when the main display screen suddenly went dark. Vox Tempus looked around in confusion as emergency lighting activated. What's happening? He demanded. The security chief, a member of a bear-like species known for their technological skills, worked frantically at his console. Someone is accessing our central database. They've bypassed all security protocols. How is that possible? Zealtark asked, his skin now ash-gray with fear. The access codes being used belong to Fleet Commander Zorthal. the security chief replied. They must have forced him to reveal them. Alarms blared throughout the station. Security forces rushed to the computer core, but when they arrived, they found nothing but an empty room and a small device attached to the system, a device that had already completed its work. On Earth, General Scott Patterson coordinated with resistance cells worldwide from Alpha Obsidian. Reports flooded in from every continent. Human forces were taking back key positions with surprising ease. The modified alien weapons and tactics developed over 6 months of careful planning were working perfectly. Chicago secure, reported Lieutenant Morris. London secure, came another voice. Sydney secure, said a third. Scott allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. Well done, everyone. Begin Phase 2. Secure alien prisoners and prepare them for transport. At that moment, Samantha Rivera burst into the command center, her face flushed with excitement. It worked. Julia's team got the virus into their system. We have complete access to the Council's database. Lisa Downs and President Carter joined them, looking at the streams of data now flowing across their screens. What are we learning? Carter asked. Everything, Samantha replied. The Council has been doing this for centuries, finding developing species and containing them before they could join galactic society as equals. They've been building their empire on the backs of enslaved worlds. Lisa studied a tactical display showing the positions of Council defense forces. And now we control their defense systems? All of them, Samantha confirmed. Their automated fleets, their planetary shields, their communication networks, it's all ours now. President Carter's face showed both satisfaction and concern. The temptation to use this power for revenge will be strong. But that's not who we are. On Nexus Prime, chaos had given way to eerie calm. The Council members found themselves locked in their chamber as the station's systems operated beyond their control. The main screen suddenly activated, showing the face of President Alan Carter. Members of the Galactic Council, he said, his voice steady and calm. My name is Alan Carter, President of the United States of America, speaking on behalf of the people of Earth. Vox Tempest stepped forward. How are you doing this? What do you want? What we want is simple. Justice. You attacked our world without provocation. You killed billions of our people. You planned to enslave the survivors. Ambassador Zeel Tark found his courage. You were deemed a threat to galactic peace. Your species is violent, unpredictable. And yet, Carter replied, when given complete control of your defense systems, our first action is not destruction, but communication. Consider that. The Council members looked at each other in confusion. We could destroy you all, Carter continued. But unlike you, we understand restraint. In 1 hour, a ship will arrive at Nexus Prime. On it will be human representatives ready to negotiate the terms of our new relationship. I suggest you prepare accordingly. As the screen went dark, Julia Bennett and her team made their way back to their hidden shuttle. Their mission was complete. They had given humanity the ultimate advantage in the coming negotiations. Do you think they'll actually negotiate? Eric asked as they prepared for departure. Julia smiled grimly. They don't have much choice. We control their defensive systems, we have their fleet commander as our prisoner, and we've exposed their crimes to every species in the galaxy. As their shuttle detached from Nexus Prime, Julia looked back at the massive structure. For centuries, decisions made in that place had determined the fate of countless worlds and species. Now, humanity would have its say. Mission accomplished, she reported to Alpha Obsidian, heading home. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so quiet. The 17 representatives sat in their ornate chairs, watching as humans entered their sacred space. Commander Lisa Downs led the small delegation, followed by Dr. Gregory Hoffman, Samantha Rivera, and Admiral Frank Winters. They wore simple dark uniforms without weapons, a show of confidence rather than aggression. Council Elder Vox Tempest stood to greet them. His skin shifted through colors of uncertainty before settling on a diplomatic blue. Representatives of Earth, he said formally, we welcome you to Nexus Prime. Lisa stepped forward. This isn't a welcome. This is a reckoning. Behind her, Samantha activated a device that projected images into the air. Pictures of destroyed cities, dead civilians, and alien labor camps on Earth. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. For 6 months, your forces have occupied our world, Lisa continued. You killed billions of our people without warning or legitimate cause. You plan to enslave the survivors and strip our planet of resources. Ambassador Zeal-Tark stood up angrily. We acted to contain a dangerous species. Your history is filled with violence and war. Dr. Hoffman stepped forward now. We've accessed your complete database. The truth is there for anyone to see. Earth was never a real threat to galactic peace. Your own assessments show we were decades away from developing interstellar travel. The real reason for your attack was economic. He projected new images, internal council documents, and meeting transcripts. Certain members of this council, particularly the Zorlian Empire and the Krell Imperium, were concerned about human creativity and innovation. You feared economic competition, not military threat. The Krell representative hissed in anger, but said nothing. Admiral Winters spoke next. While we've been talking, human ships equipped with your own technology have established positions around the homeworlds of every council species that voted for Earth's destruction. New projections showed Earth vessels in strategic positions throughout council space. The ships were small in number but positioned perfectly to disable key defense nodes. How is this possible? Vox Tempest asked, his skin fading to pale gray. Samantha smiled slightly. You underestimated us. We've been studying a crashed alien ship since 1967. When you attacked, we already understood some of your basic principles. Necessity and survival did the rest. Lisa held up a small device. Right now, we control your automated defense systems, your communication networks, and your central database. We could shut down life support on your colony worlds, disable your shields, or broadcast the truth about your containment operations to every species in the galaxy. Fear showed clearly on the faces of the council members. The Zorlian ambassador's blue skin had turned almost white. What do you want? Vox Tempest asked quietly. Revenge? Lisa looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of each council member. If we wanted revenge, you would already be dead. No, what we want is justice and reform. President Carter's face appeared on the main screen, joining the meeting from Earth. Members of the Galactic Council, today marks a turning point in galactic history. The Earth delegation has prepared a document we call the Earth Accords. These will establish new protections for developing worlds and severe consequences for unprovoked aggression. Lisa placed a data crystal on the central table. The Accords require the immediate withdrawal of all occupation forces from Earth. They establish a tribunal to investigate crimes committed during the invasion. They create a new framework where developing species are helped, not contained. The council chamber erupted in argument. The Krell representative shouted about human arrogance. Others demanded to know what would happen if they refused. Admiral Winters waited for the noise to die down before responding. If you refuse, we will be forced to use the power we now hold. We don't want to disable planetary shields or shut down life support systems. We don't want to expose the Council's crimes to every world under your control, but we will if necessary. What followed was 12 hours of tense negotiation. The human delegation remained firm, but fair. They didn't seek punishment for entire species, only accountability for those who had ordered the attack. They didn't demand reparations that would cripple economies, only enough to help rebuild Earth. As the final terms were agreed upon, Lisa noticed something surprising: relief on many council members' faces. Later, she would learn that several species had opposed Earth's containment but had been outvoted and silenced. Back on Earth, the last Zorlian ships were leaving the atmosphere. Humans emerged from hiding to reclaim their planet. In the ruins of Chicago, Lieutenant Olivia Morris watched the alien ships depart with mixed feelings. The occupation was over, but the rebuilding had just begun. In Alpha Obsidian, President Carter addressed the gathered human leaders. Today we have achieved something remarkable, not just victory, but the chance to build a better future, not only for Earth, but for the galaxy. Dr. Hoffman stood beside him. The technology we've gained will help us rebuild faster than anyone thought possible. Within 5 years, we can restore what was destroyed. Within 10, we'll have our first true interstellar ships. General Patterson looked skeptical. And the Council? Can we trust them to honor the accords? Trust but verify, President Carter replied. We'll maintain control of key defense systems for the next 5 years as a safeguard, and Commander Downs will serve as Earth's first ambassador to the Council. 1 month later, Lisa stood in the rebuilt Council chamber. The physical layout was the same, but the power dynamics had shifted dramatically. Earth now held a provisional seat at the table. More importantly, representatives from other formerly contained species had been invited to join as well. Council, Elder Vox Tempus, who had remained as a transitional leader, addressed the new assembly. The events of recent months have forced us to confront uncomfortable truths about our past actions. The Earth Accords represent a new beginning, a chance to build the truly peaceful galactic community we always claimed to be. After the session, Ambassador Zealtark approached Lisa in the corridor. The Zorlian seemed humbled, his once arrogant posture now hesitant. There is something I don't understand, he said. You had the power to destroy us all. Why didn't you use it? Lisa considered the question carefully. Because the true measure of an advanced species isn't their technology or their power. It's the wisdom to know when not to use that power. She looked out through the massive viewport at the stars beyond. The Council feared us because you thought we would be like you, conquering, containing, controlling. Our restraint shocked you more than our strength ever could. On her first day as Earth's ambassador, Lisa sent a message back to Alpha Obsidian. The real revenge wasn't what we did to them. It was showing them who we really are. Dr. Hoffman, reading her message in his lab where he now worked with scientists from 3 different alien species, smiled and wrote back a single line. And that, Commander, is the most brutal revenge of all.